Ridiculous.
Ridiculous, but I bet it was for a significant amount of money.
Still ridiculous.
Yeah, but fun. I'd watch it. Look, Jake Paul wants to test himself against actual, not just world champion, but one of the greatest of all time.
Fought, and it wasn't fixed, Jake Paul would not survive 45 seconds.
I don't know about that. I think it would take a few rounds.
Really?
But yeah, first of all, Jake is a lot bigger. Jake's a lot bigger.
But what weight would they fight?
Well,
Not about the number. If it was about the number, we could have started up. I would have tell you, I'm not just interested. It makes no sense for me. It's not my what I'm looking at right now.
Joe Rogan was taken aback when he learned that Jake Paul had approached Francis Ngannou as a potential next opponent after his fight with Gervonta Davis was canceled. On his podcast, Rogan described the matchup as wild and extremely risky for the YouTuber-turned-boxer. Ngannou, a seasoned combat sports veteran known for his devastating punching power, makes this a dangerous challenge. Rogan questioned whether Jake fully understood the risk, though he acknowledged that if the fight did happen, it would undoubtedly draw massive attention and viewership.
And Nikita calls Francis. This is Francis telling the story. Nikita calls Francis and says, "Hey, we need your help. We need an opponent for Jake. Tank is out." And Francis says, "All right." And Francis says, "Well, how can I help you?" Nikita says, "Well, we're looking at an opponent for Jake. Tank Davis is out." And Francis says, "All right, but specifically, how can I help you?" Nikita takes a third swing at the bat. He says, "Well, we need an opponent. We need a boxer. We need a partner. We need somebody to fight Jake. Tank is out." And Francis asks him again, "Okay, what specific?"
After Jake Paul's scheduled exhibition against Gervonta Davis was canceled due to Davis facing multiple legal issues, Paul and his team began searching for a new opponent. One of the names that came up was Francis Ngannou, the former UFC heavyweight champion who has transitioned into boxing. Known for his immense size, striking power, and reputation in combat sports, Ngannou presents a serious challenge for anyone stepping into the ring with him.
I think the fight is going to be completely canceled and rescheduled, and now we have potential opponent names and some people being ruled out coming into today. This is not a joke. It was said by Mike Coppinger and others that the #1 candidate to replace Tank Davis in a Jake Paul fight, probably on a different date, was going to be Francis Ngannou. What the f? But we have an update on that and other potential names Jake could fight. Again, I think on a separate date, and why I think the Jake and Tank fight is completely off. No more, maybe, no more, we don't think it'll happen. I think
Michael Bisping commented on the huge size difference in the potential matchup between Jake Paul and Francis Ngannou. He noted that Paul's original target, Gervonta Davis, was a much smaller lightweight, and moving to Ngannou represents a complete shift in physical challenge. Bisping emphasized that going from a lighter opponent to a fighter of Ngannou's size and strength introduces a significant disparity, not just in skill or record, but in sheer mass, reach, and overall threat level.
Like Mike Tyson, who's 58, Anderson Silva, who was way past his prime, people like Nate Diaz, who were way smaller. Gervonta Davis really did take the piss. I mean, that was just the craziest shout ever. To go from fighting Gervonta Davis, way smaller, to now fighting boxing Francis Ngannou. I mean, listen, if he does it, fair play. But I just call #1 bullshit on this brother, because I don't see this happening. No.
This is #1 bullshit.
I just don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. Nate Diaz, yeah, 100%. I mean, he beat him once already. I'm sure Nate Diaz would love to get another big payday, because obviously boxing on Netflix and going up against Jake Paul, given his success, given the name that he has, and given the magnitude of his events, Nate Diaz will get paid an absolute fortune once again. We know that it wasn't too long ago Jake Paul was talking about boxing Anthony Joshua, and that never came to fruition. There's absolutely no way he would box Anthony Joshua. If he did, if he was to do something like that, whether it be Anthony Joshua or Francis Ngannou, I'd give him his props. I'd give him his credit. And you never know. Maybe he would do it just for the clout, because in many ways it would be Sorry about the airport notifications. It would be, an admirable thing to do, and it would be Jake Paul taking on somebody bigger.
Francis Ngannou revealed that Jake Paul's team reaching out about stepping in as a replacement for Gervonta Davis surprised him. He described the offer as sudden and not in line with his current priorities. While financial compensation was mentioned, Ngannou declined, explaining that the terms and situation didn't add up for him. He stressed that this wasn't about money. It was about whether the matchup made sense from a professional standpoint.
Fight Jake to replace Gervonta, I'm like, who's Jake? I was so confused, I wasn't expecting that at all. And he said, yeah, Jake Paul, he's fighting. And I'm like, no, bro, come on, don't disrespect me like that. And then they even say they even come out after and say, and what if the number are good? He sent out some number. I'm like, it's not about the number. If it was about the number, we could have started talk. I would have tell you, I'm not just interested. He make no sense for me. It's not my what I'm.
Former UFC champion Daniel Cormier offered a stark warning to Jake Paul regarding a potential fight with Francis Ngannou. Cormier highlighted Ngannou's immense power and the clear gap in experience and physicality, suggesting that Paul might be unprepared for a heavyweight with such a striking background. He framed it as a situation where Paul could face serious consequences, emphasizing that this matchup is far beyond the challenges he's typically encountered. The takeaway is simple. This fight isn't just about money or entertainment. The danger could outweigh any potential reward.
Goes from fighting Gervonta Davis to calling out Francis Ngannou. Jake Paul don't want those problems. I can't say it any different. Jake Paul does not want any Francis Ngannou problems. He don't. He does not want those issues. While I think it's crazy and I credit him for doing that, and I'm surprised he did that, this could be a ploy. Him poking out his chest, saying, I want Francis. He don't want those Francis Ngannou problems. I don't care what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou. Jake Paul gets in there with Francis. Francis will knock his head off this planet. You don't want those Francis problems. I watched Francis put down Tyson Fury. Sure, Anthony Joshua beat him. But even if Jake got power, I don't think he got power to be dealing with Francis. Because all it takes is for one.
Cormier also questioned Jake Paul's intentions, implying that the fight is driven more by publicity than real competitive ambition. He pointed out that Paul is underestimating what it takes to face a heavyweight capable of delivering knockout-level punches. While Ngannou's striking power is notorious in MMA, that force is even more dangerous in a boxing ring. Cormier cautioned that if Paul steps into the ring without fully appreciating the differences between MMA striking and boxing defense, the outcome could be disastrous and very quick.
Right? Boxing is much different than mixed martial arts. The target audience might be the same, but the demographics different. The places where people are brought up are different. There's bigger entourages in boxing. It's just a different world in boxing. We've known that from the very beginning. We know that Gervonta Davis was not going to just play to Jake Paul's rules. I still don't know exactly why this thing is falling apart, but it is falling apart bad. It is bursting at the seams. We are almost exactly where we should have never started. This should have never gotten started, but it did. But we are almost now exactly where we need to be in the fight, and that's it.
Is this fight an electrifying high-risk showdown? Or a mismatch that shouldn't happen? Let us know what you think in the comments.